Prince. SOS. Percival. Maru. Creator. 2021 GSL Season 1. Code A. Africa TV Freak Up Studio Live. LG Ultra Gear and Hot 6 2021 GSL Season 1.
We're back. We're ready. Unfortunately, we can't have you guys in our studio yet, but the world is slowly getting back to normal. I can't wait to have an audience here eventually.
Yeah.
The question I ask, though, is when things are back to normal, do we call them esports events or do we call them gamer festivals? Which is, you know, I've always thought Gamer Festival was a way better name.
The thing is, one night at Code S can't really be a festival. It needs to be like a weekend, you know?
So those would be the weekend events, the gamer
festivals. And I think
festivals.
DreamHack is already ahead of you. Don't they actually call it like a festival?
Do they?
I think they do.
I'm not even funny.
Do. Well, maybe DreamHack's really funny. They don't even know
let me continue my bad stand-up routine. I'm like, you ever notice a hamburger and a sandwich aren't that different? They both use bread. Okay, I thought my idea was original.
A bread bowl is a sandwich, tasteless.
A bread bowl is not a sandwich. That's a soup. That's with an edible bowl.
It's got bread around it. It's a sandwich,
It's got bread around it?
Yeah.
Artosis thinks donuts are sandwiches, guys.
No.
There's sandwiches around nothing. There's sandwiches with no middle because there's a hole.
Sandwich.
It's an air sandwich.
Damn.
Nice.
Nice.
We're going to have our new player playing.
Yes, yes. This is exciting to see Percival actually qualify.
Percival.
Percival. Yes, let's really destroy his name immediately. You always do that. It's actually a real problem. People have
That's my problem. That's right. I'm always saying it wrong. I got to work on that.
I'm just happy to be back here.
Yeah, me too.
There's something so comfortable about GSL.
Well, I mean, we've been doing it for this long, right? I mean, over a decade now, back here. Same desk, same headsets. Not the same players today. Whew. That's a plot twist.
You know
same
how,
sponsors, apparently same commercials according to that first break.
Yeah, same headsets, but not the same casters. You know, all the cells in your body get replaced like every 10 years or
That's
something.
right.
But that's not true for headsets.
No.
So, like, the headsets actually are probably looking at us like, who are these?
Yeah.
Who are they?
I like the guy 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So we just saw TY play against Prince. If you missed that, definitely check out the VOD. I mean, it was a really good series. Prince is, I think, one of the reasons to continue to be excited about StarCraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is one of the newer players here. Up next, we have the newest.
Dude, he's making little splashes in and showing us some really cool strategies and plans and stuff, but not, I mean, losing to TY, losing to Maru last time, what can you do? That's like, those are bad draws, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're, you know, real Dark Souls bosses to go up against. Suddenly I can't talk. Now we've got SOS, who is, by the way, according to many of the pros, the hardest player to prep for a best of 5, which in Code A is what we have right now.
Yeah, it's a good point. One thing we should mention is that 2020 was his worst professional year ever. He's been a killer most of the other years. I mean, he's a 2-time world champion and everything. He's been to the GSL finals multiple times, getting second place twice. An IM champion. Like, he's won so much, but last year sucked for him. So hopefully he has a better year this year. Already he is having a bit of a better year. Now, here is Percival. This is our brand new player. He's very young. He only started playing StarCraft 2 in like 2018.
Let's just say that again.
Yeah, that's
He started playing
insane.
StarCraft 2 in 2018.
And they were saying he was born in 2002, which, to put this into perspective, 2002 is when I started flying around to StarCraft 1 tournaments to play.
Yeah.
So this kid is brand new. Big shout out to No Regret, who in the Korean team house had this guy there when he was still much lower MMR than everyone, but he literally, I met Percival over at his house, and he was telling me, he's like, this kid has a lot of talent. Like, he has barely been playing, he's already really good. And here he is very shortly thereafter in GSL Code A.
And by the way, all the people who are like, it's too late to try to learn StarCraft, here's a guy in Code S who started in 2018.
Yeah.
So just
much better than us who have been playing since literally the beta.
Yeah. And then the game before that, yeah. This guy, all right, guys, we're ready. Game 1 on Death or best of 5.
GSL Season 1.
Percival versus SOS. Let's go.
We were just informed from our producer that
Team NV, SOS.
the pros think that Percival has the most potential amongst the amateurs. But again, the shout out to No Regret, being that talent scout once again. By the way, congrats on joining Psystorm once again.
Yeah.
To No Regret.
Team NV, Percival.
But that is really exciting to have someone coming up like him. All right, let's see what he's got. Like, he's going up against SOS, and here's the thing. I bet you mechanically he's actually slightly stronger than SOS, I bet you.
It's possible.
Checked for that, and then it came. Okay, he sees it, chasing down that probe. He's being very careful here. Of course, it's not a forge. He's just faking.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, like, SOS is not terrible mechanically, but if Percival is already this good, and I've seen very few of his games. Like, I watched him play just a little tiny bit over at the team house back then, but that was a while ago, like a year ago, probably. But yeah, like, generally, young up-and-comers like this are mechanically very strong. So if Percival can figure out what SOS is up to and stop the initial crazy thing that SOS does, there's a chance he can get an upset. Like, obviously, I think that SOS is going to win. SOS should be a heavy favorite, but
right.
I'm just saying there's, like, a world in which we might be living where SOS could get eliminated here.
I've looked up Percival on my phone.
Yeah?
Percival was one of King Arthur's legendary Knights of the Round Table.
Mm-hmm. That's sick.
I'm trying to see if there's any other meaning to it.
Bet you that's where he got it from.
Yeah.
What was the thing about him? Because all the different knights had, like, various attributes.
Okay, hold on. Let me go to Wikipedia. Let me take a look here. We don't get a lot of new players, guys. This is kind of exciting for us. Mm-hmm. He was first made famous by French author. I don't know how to say his name. He is best known for being the original hero in the Quest for the Grail, before being replaced in later English and French
by Indiana Jones.
By Indiana Jones. That's it. You nailed it. That's what it says right
I thought
here.
I was making a joke. That's sick, though.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Eat that, Percival.
I'm still looking. All right, well, I'm not getting much here on Wikipedia.
That's all right.
It's way too much to parse here. So we've got a Robo Tech here. Some more gates coming down. The Robo is just over here at the 9 o'clock spot.
Yeah, kind of interesting. It is Hellions being produced right now from Percival. We have a bit of a wall-in for SOS, so I think he's, like, totally fine here. Like, especially considering, you know, the Hellions are roaming around the map. Now he's going to go ahead and scout a little bit. Looks like he's going to see the proxy starport. So again, it's hard to imagine Percival getting that damage really done with the amount of intel that SOS has and his building placement already.
That's right. The Warp Prism about to pop out here. Let's see what he can actually do. You know, with these Hellions on the map, this is going to be one of those moments where they're both going to be dropping each other at the same time. There is not really anything back at home for Terran right now. These 3 Stalkers and 2 Adepts can easily fight this.
Yeah, going to push that back. And, well, I mean, the one thing it does do is stops a warping round that would have been in this prism to come and attack him.
That's true, but he's going the long way anyways. He wants to come in from over here. So I think the warp down isn't going to be as much of an issue. I don't know what exactly is in the Terran space. It's been long enough, he might have something to take a fight here. Second Hellion and third go down. 7 probes killed. And it looks like actually Percival is going to come out on top, at least as far as damage goes. Let's see what more can be killed over here with the Stalkers as they go into the main.
Yeah, I think SOS is definitely not done yet. He's got the warping round as well, so maybe we see him, like, throwing some Zealots.
This might be a mistake here from Percival. He sieged up, but then you just shimmy these Stalkers over.
Oh, actually pretty good hold right there, yeah.
Ooh.
And luckily for SOS, he does have that recall ready. So we'll get the Prism out. Twilight on the way. And at the end of all that, I think that was actually slightly better for Percival, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's going to get the free Robo. You know, he killed like a decent amount of probes with those Hellions, which really don't scale anyways.
And now Percival is beginning to push. He's going to come over here and shut down the Robo attack. At least that's the plan. I don't think Protoss can actually contest this. I think the spread is pretty good. He did have those 2 Adepts come over there. I think that might have been a mistake there by SOS. Drew them in and then pulled them away. But with Percival out of position here, I mean, this is an army that's got a lot more muscle to it. This isn't your standard drop. And so this could actually just run into the entrance. There's not even... Oh, excuse me, there is a full bunker here.
Yeah, but, I mean, he actually targets down some SCVs there. Goes into the main base here with the Prism, unloading those 4 Stalkers with the Warp in as well. Up comes the Viking. Some targeting from SOS actually allows that Prism to die.
Yeah, gets the medevac here. This is kind of a funny exchange of blows that's been back and forth, but I think maybe that attack onto the Robo was a little bit too ambitious because now we're seeing SOS just catapult ahead. And this is one of the things about SOS is he's very good at intuiting what the best move is. Gets an immediate double tank snipe.
Yeah, and a little bit too quick of a punish onto the Robo. Like that Robo is going to die, but at what time you can take it is an important thing to take into consideration.
It was a little bit too eager, a little bit too ambitious to try to punish there.
Terran units are super soft before you have like Stim and a certain mass of them.
And Stim's just now finishing here. I mean, they just don't really have the abilities that you can kind of connect together to have a powerful army that can take a fight. And honestly, you know, Tier 1 Protoss units, I think usually we think of them as basically pretty bad. But if they're fighting Terran army units that don't have Stim, don't have a lot of the other upgrades, they're actually quite good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're basically better.
Yeah,
so,
when there's like no upgrades involved on any side, Protoss units are actually pretty good. It's just when those upgrades come out, it's like, oh, the DPS is pretty high over here, isn't it? We have to be careful.
So as you can see, Stim's done. Suddenly these Stalkers aren't a threat anymore, but you know, right now 54 workers to 34. Of course, the Protoss in the lead here. SOS, if he holds this attack, he wins the game. The SCVs are going to be pulled. I actually think this is the best way to play from here for Percival.
Yeah, I think it's a totally reasonable way to try to go about this. Now, SOS pretty much knows what's happening. Surprised he actually comes down here. Oh, I see. Okay. Makes perfect sense. Does get some good force fields off there. Going to run away as the SCVs come up.
He'll have a second bottleneck that he can try to manipulate the fight in here by the staircase. Sometimes we have a Warp Prism that comes in. I don't think... Oh, no, there's one coming over here towards the main. So he's going to have some Zealots that'll come in. And this is just too much.
Yeah.
I mean, he might want to actually force field behind this to lock it in with the Zealots. GG, SOS takes game 1, but I'll tell you what, it was a fun one.
Yeah, yeah. If Percival hadn't come out to kill the Robo that quickly, he could have defended the counter harassment, the counter push from SOS a little bit more strongly. I think in the very beginning, he maybe came out slightly on top with the initial 2 drops, but you know, it's all right. This guy is actually so young and has been playing for such a short amount of time. SOS was already like a 2-time world champion when Percival started playing.
Yeah, we've got some lopsided matches today, right? But what's been exciting so far is that they are looking pretty damn close. Like on paper, you have to say, okay, well, it's SOS. Even in his bad year, it's like, well, it's a safe bet that SOS goes on, right? But Percival's holding his own. I think Percival made one of the mistakes we don't often get to commentate about, and that was pushing out and attacking a Robo. We've seen this with Stargates very rarely, but overextending basically and taking a moment where he defended pretty well and actually creating an opening there for SOS.
Yeah, yeah. Well, SOS not going to miss something like that. Goes up 1-0. We're going to go to Lightshade next.
Okay. Lightshade, map number 2.
2021.
Right now, SOS with a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 in Code A. kind of going with new metal right now for these.
Yeah, I like it.
Team NV, SOS.
That's new metal, right? The kind of Linkin Park sound. Is that correct?
I don't think
I'm
that's
not
what it's called. I don't think that's what it's called anymore. I think it's actually like
I don't
that
trust you.
genre.
Yeah.
They actually moved the name.
Team NV, Percival.
I saw someone say that it's actually called like classic rock or something now because it's like we're approaching 40. That's like what we listen to.
No, that's like the radio station it would be on, but I think the genre would be new metal, right? I think. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if I know.
Here's the thing. We don't
Anyways,
need to label
that type of music.
Yeah.
Well, we probably should for art, but
let's not put labels on the music.
It's probably helpful for the sake of art artosis to have things labeled. But whoa! I was looking at you trying to figure out what kind of music that was, and meanwhile,
double proxy barracks.
Percival, the Curcival, coming in over here.
Gonna put SOS into a Percival.
What would King Arthur say about this?
Oh man!
I don't even remember the story of King Arthur that well. I'm like, was he the king of rock? It's like, no, that was Elvis. sorry.
Was he the Prince of Rock? No, that was Prince.
Yeah.
The Protoss player Prince? No, not that Prince. Yeah. Another Prince.
Like, was he the Queen of Pop? It's like, that was Britney Spears, actually.
Oh, man. All right, well, the double proxy here going for a Marauder rush. Oh, I love it. I love it. Is he going to go double add-on Marauder? Yes, he is.
This is cool.
Dude, he can kill him with this.
Yeah. This is, by design, made to sink the game pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Marauders are slow and clunky units, but if they get the concussive shells and they start to win a fight, the opponent's in quicksand. I mean, they can't move quickly, and everything kind of falls apart.
Oh, SOS is going to try to hold this. He is not going to... Well, you know what? He's only shown one Marauder, so maybe he thinks that this is a one-Rax play. Against one-Rax play, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. But against two, I do not think so. Okay, he actually makes it on the high ground. Yeah, and he cancels. Okay,
so he sees with the other Marauder coming up here. He's going to have to sack the Zealot, and this is what you can see. There's, like, not any real way to rebound once the Zealot starts to get hit. And so keeping a proper distance is so important here.
Sure, you're right about that. Starts to engage as soon as that battery is coming online, so well done. Holds them back, keeps his battery alive. Probably, I mean, let's see if he wants to do something crazy. Yeah, I don't think he's going to try to go up that ramp. That's like, against the shield batteries, possible probe drills and everything. Not going to be a good idea for him, but you know what? He's making that bunker. He's getting some vision as well. This is looking pretty good for our Terran player.
Okay, it's looking good, but I mean, I don't think it's super great here. I think he's forced a game that I feel like actually SOS is very good at. Like, we have this double pylon warp in. This is, I believe he wants to actually seesaw this.
Well, the double pylon, like
he's just gonna warp in.
Yeah, that's interesting. Look at that.
This is funny, yeah. Look,
but he actually finishes the wall with a depot. Dude, you can't even make this game up. Look at this. Because originally he blocked the factory that was trying to land there. But now in Adept, oh my god.
Wait.
And then warps on the inside. Of course, pylons
Imagine
can do that.
this pylon, the probe was on the other side. He could start building batteries here. I'm just trying to get a handle on this, guys. Sorry, we don't get to cast a game like this normally.
This is so weird.
This is just on another level.
Well, that's SOS.
Yeah.
You make it weird, he's like, thank you. Normally I have to make it weird.
Yeah, this is a fantastic game. I don't know what you can do with a Cyclone. I don't think there's enough room in the main base to actually win a fight.
No, but 5 Stalkers, I mean, almost impossible.
Yeah, there's going to be another warp in coming here. The warp prism's empty, by the way, as well, but this only further affirms how much of a threat the warp-ins are going to be. And now he can juggle. The Zealots coming here, too, are going to be, I think, a real death sentence here.
Very much over.
All right, Percival.
Cyclones can't do
GG. That was a great game.
That was a cool build from Percival. Like, he gives himself an opportunity, but SOS just bringing the probe up at that moment allowed him to end the game instantaneously. If the factory landed slightly quicker, then SOS doesn't get a pylon up, right? And then suddenly it's like, well, do you want to try to break up the ramp? That's so different from warping on the inside.
Dude, today's games have been so good. It's so good to be back, guys. Long-form StarCraft 2 tournaments. Once again, it's the season.
Yeah.
And SOS, you know, I think the danger of what Percival did is because he didn't get the kill, now he's playing in SOS's world. You know, now it's like, oh, okay, well, you forced him on one base and SOS has to be creative because he can't macro up and expand. Well, that's literally what SOS is known for doing.
I wonder if SOS would just do another standard opening on Romance side.
I don't know. Let's find out. Our game's loading up. SOS versus Percival. If SOS wins, he moves on to the GSL Code S.
2021 GSL Season 1.
We stood at the edge of the world, seized the stakes.
Team NV SOS. Team NV Percival.
Look at Percival's hair.
Got his
Regular
own style.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What is the story where the girl lets down the hair? Rapunzel. Percival, let down your hair.
So SOS may climb it with his warp prism.
Climb it
and
into
make
the round
stalkers
of
in your scalp.
in your scalp. The whole time in the back of my head, I'm like, what is that? And yeah, Rapunzel, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, look, I'm super stoked to be casting Percival's games. He's new, he's good, he has not been playing for very long. And this is also evidence that it is not a saturated scene. That you can't, there's no entry because everybody's been playing for too long. Not if you're Percival.
Yeah.
Percival, more like persevere.
He's going to have to persevere, and he's down 0-2, you know. It's
Yeah, but I mean, look, he's here. If
Yeah.
this was our old tournament, it'd be round of 32 GSL Code S. It's Code A. People are defying one of the oldest esports now. New people are coming up. That's crazy. That's so cool.
very fun to see. Look at this. Percival checking for that Nexus, but actually SOS just makes it at his third instead. Maybe throwing him off a little bit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. CC in the main base, so he's being very careful.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good ideas here.
Okay, he sees it, though.
And so, yeah, let's see what kind of game we're going to get here. This will be a little bit of a slower start.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like any real aggression can occur as of yet, but sometimes when we see a Protoss take that Nexus, you just see things like Hellions come out because you can't, like, what are you going to do? How are you going to...
Yeah.
Shield batteries don't really do that much against lots of Hellions. Like, you have 3-4 Hellions, they're gonna wreck the probes no matter what. So that makes me a little bit nervous for him. Just generally speaking, when we see Protosses take that as their first expansion, you know.
And there's a
hard to
reason why we
defend.
don't talk about it that often. It's because it's usually not that safe. We don't see it that often as well. Yeah, I'm wondering what kind of game we're going to have from SOS. You know, the problem with fighting him is he's oftentimes so crazy, but he's completely fine dialing it back into a more normal game. And we're going to have some of the ideas, by the way, here from Percival that we had in Game 1.
Well, he's making that proxy starport, but
Yeah.
we don't see the Hellions this time. Instead, siege tank production. So
I think what he's going to
kind of
do
interesting.
is actually load up some, like a tank, and then send the Marines out, and then have a very quick push somewhere weird.
do you think he's going to make, like, an add-on here? Is he going to go, like, medevac from this, or is
I
this
think it's Medevac.
Liberator, perhaps?
Maybe Liberator, actually.
Oh.
Tech Lab, all right.
Banshee.
Huh. Okay, you know what Percival reminds me of, actually, is StarCraft 1 Fantasy. Like, he's got these very kind of, everything's wired together just barely.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a very unique idea that he's usually going for with a very specific strategy that has to work at a specific moment.
Okay, I
That's
see what you're saying.
Percival. Now, the problem is if you're not absolutely perfect with these strategies, there's always an Achilles heel.
Yeah, there's a reason
So-
people do not play like this.
Yeah, I mean,
generally.
when we kind of saw this with the push out in game 1, where it's like it seemed like he was holding everything fine until he kind of overextended. He attacked
Yeah.
out without even having stim.
Well, hopefully he doesn't make another big mistake like that. Now, he is defending this as he knows that it's not a real Oracle, still chasing around a little bit. And you know what? I mean, this proxy Banshee he's making actually has a lot of potential.
Okay.
First Banshee is out. We'll see if he sends that in or saves it.
Okay.
He's saving it. Yeah, he's waiting
Yeah.
for 2 Banshees. So that's like something that can be an insanely strong move.
Well,
if they are not prepared, then you can just ignore shield batteries, basically.
The damage just spikes up exponentially with 2 Banshees here, and so I think this might force a recall back here. And really, Protoss
Well, we
hasn't.
don't have detection, right? Like, this is Twilight Tech.
Oh, you're right.
So,
Yeah, no, you're completely right. This is just like these are Terran DTs now.
yeah, flying ones at that. But they 2-shot workers instead of 1, so, you know.
The probe is going to see the 2 Banshees, but I mean,
Oh, SOS's head just jerked. Robo gets started immediately. These Banshees are going to do some insane damage.
probe's being evacuated right now. Basically, you just can't let the Banshees get too close to the probes. Now, don't we? By the way, Protoss is not fully turned around with everything. There's something up here at 12.
Dude, look at this. He is going to kill just an amazing amount of probes.
Yeah,
Running out very quickly. He's going to run out of energy on this one relatively soon. Goes over to this, I guess we call it the 3rd base location, or the 1st base that he took. The damage output is massive.
oh, it's just insane here. We're seeing the worker count plummet here, and this is going to be extremely difficult to recover from. Keep in mind, Terran has gone unscathed this game. And Terran really is. Look at this. Oh my God, Percival's so smart.
Wow.
Okay, he does an incredible amount of damage while untouched, and says, "All right, let's close this out."
Yeah, he didn't actually lose the Banshees there as well, which
Yeah.
is actually kind of important for this timing.
I think SOS loses this game. I think
Yeah.
there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Percival really just does not control his army right here. Look at this, even perfectly flying through with the Banshees, targeting down more probes here.
He has killed so much. SOS very, very low right now. Now, he has to get those SCVs in the front. The army's still pretty strong for SOS. He's getting on top of those siege tanks. The SCV's not quite placed as they should be, but he is starting to cut through all of those units.
Yeah, actually, this is kind of sick. Like, I'm almost blown away. He's hanging on. And I think suddenly Percival, who, you know, I was mentioning earlier, he reminds me of the old fantasy in StarCraft 1, where he's got these pretty ingenious timings and attacks, but they have to be done perfectly. Here's another moment.
Well, the problem is, right, you kill that many probes, it doesn't actually affect their army size at all right away. You have to wait some time for that to kick in where they're missing rounds and they're having to replace probes, and your army's still building at a steady rate. That's how you punish. Instead, he attacked immediately, and unfortunately for him, the SCVs were not in front of the 2 siege tanks, and there was an overcharged pylon.
And it's like, it's almost the perfect idea, right? It's like, oh, you have to make this small micro adjustment, give it like a minute and a half, build up a little bit more. Their warp ends are not going to be that full. But, you know, SOS held it, and now he's punishing as we're seeing the tanks get wiped out, the infantry get pushed away. And in a game that was really so much Percival coming out ahead, it backfired. And these are the things that, to be a top-tier StarCraft player, have to be brushed up on perfectly, or you do end up with stuff like this. So GG, SOS 3-0's Percival. But I'll tell you what, man, that was a pleasure to cast.
Yeah, it was very cool to see. Here's the thing, it makes sense that you would mess that up a little bit, because that's like one of those StarCraft principles that you actually need embedded deep inside of yourself. Like, that you can't be thinking about each situation and be like, okay, let me get out my StarCraft rulebook. After I do harassment, I have to wait for the hurt economy to kick in and stifle his production while mine continues. That has to be something that is like in your subconscious so that you time your attack back a little bit, right? If he does 2 more rounds of units and then does that,
he probably wins. We're probably casting game 4.
Yeah. So just a slight mistake, but SOS obviously such a veteran here taking that down.
In Percival's debut match, it is SOS winning the series, and he moves on to the Code S. Congratulations, thank you. Well, it's your GSL round of 16 in 2 years. SOS, how do you feel? Well, it's been such a long time. So, you know, in the past, going to the round of 16 was something really obvious to me. So, you know, I've been getting a lot of stress for the past few months. So I want to just climb up higher than ever. Yes, in the past you had some series where you lost with a really close score. But SOS, it felt like you were really having fun today in the match against Percival. Well, I actually intended to make some builds prior to today's match, so I just decided to just go with the flow and use my original strategies. And I think that's why I won today. Well, you played against Percival, who was born in 2002, and he's a newcomer to the GSL scene. And you beat him 3-0. And you won the last game as well, which looked pretty advantageous to Percival. So you won some skirmishes and that led to your victory. So what was that about? Well, Percival actually came into my base when I had the super battery. So that was definitely his mistake. And that ended up in his downfall. And Percival actually mentioned that his role model is actually Maru and Byun. You know, I think Percival he's too young right now, and he's definitely improved compared to last year when I last saw him. So if I disappear from GSL in the future, I think Percival will be able to take my legacy. And I think Percival's playstyle is quite similar to Bunny's. And that's just my opinion. So SOS, as I said before, this is your round of 16 in 2 years. So we'll definitely be looking forward to the group nomination as well. So how do you feel ahead of the group nomination? Well, I mean, I'm not making the groups. So I do want to join a good group in the end. But you know, I just want to have fun during the day of the group nomination. So anything you want to say before you go? Well, today was a team kill match. That was quite disappointing. So I'm kind of sorry to Percival for defeating him, but I want to advance to a higher place. Once again, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Excellent translation. Look, man, I'm super hyped to have more Percival games.
Yeah.
He's young, he's good, and obviously the ideas that he's bringing are really very strong. He just has to tweak a few things, and I think we could see him easily in a Code S.
Look, normally it takes years and years and years of practice to get anywhere close to professional, right?
Yeah.
And here he is, about 3 years in or so, maybe a little bit less, and he's in Code A. Put out some good games. He has a bright future.
We're going to have a short break. We come back. Our next match. Don't go away.
Hold on to